If you're looking for a used vehicle in the Chicagoland area, North Naperville Autos is your one-stop shop for quality pre-owned cars. Stop in and visit or browse their inventory online at www.northnapervilleautos.com.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2010 Lexus GX 460. Up front is a 4.6 liter V8 and down below is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this Lexus GX 460 for a couple of reasons, but mainly the fact that these sell for really good value. Now 13 years after their release, they're pretty reliable, they're pretty stout, and they're highly sought after. So I'm excited to share that with you today. But before we get on to anything else, I have a website, zackprato.com, where you can buy stickers and other merchandise when it becomes available. You could also submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me through a quick and easy submission form, and you get a video of your car just like this one. And you could read my behind-the-scenes blog to see what I'm filming before it comes out on the channel. But let's get back to that 4.6 liter V8 under the hood. Well, in the late 2000s, early 2010s, Toyota/Lexus used this in a lot of their more heavy-duty applications. We saw it in trucks, we saw it in some SUVs, and it's pretty reliable. It makes 301 horsepower, and although it doesn't rev and drive like a Mustang GT, I think it offers a good amount of performance for the vehicle that I'm driving. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed automatic. I was very happy to see that it got a 6-speed as opposed to a 5-speed, which was a little bit more common in the 2000s. I like that extra gear. And last but not least, it is 4-wheel drive, and we'll talk about how to select that a little bit later on. So how does it feel to actually drive the Lexus GX 460? Well, it's a pretty big vehicle. That's the first thing that you notice. It is not only a 3-row SUV, but you sit up high. You have pretty thick A-pillars. Not saying that visibility is particularly poor, but it's not the best in the world. You have to remember that you are driving something a lot larger. This is not a Highlander. This is not a RAV4. This is not an RX 350. This is something bigger. So just keep that in mind when you do decide to drive one. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 4 gauges and a screen. Off to the left is my tachometer and coolant temperature. Off to the right is my fuel and speedometer. And then I do have a little screen in the center that I could switch through just a couple of things if I want to know more about the car. Although this is somewhat rudimentary, just in terms of the fact that it's only really one color, white on a black screen. It's not the fanciest looking screen. However, again, 2010 was very early for this technology. Little information gauges started popping up in the mid-2000s, so I can't really fault it too hard. On the steering wheel, on the left, I have my volume, skip track, and mode, and off to the right, I have my phone options, my selector for that gauge cluster screen we just talked about, and my voice commands. The overall look and feel of the steering wheel feels very modern. It actually does have wood accents at top and bottom, but the design of it does feel pretty fresh. However, it could be said that not much has changed with the Lexus GX over the last 13 years, so that might be why I feel that way. Off to the left, I have a climate control vent, my power mirrors, gauge dimmer switch, trip odometer reset, and my traction control, as well as my fuel door release. Off to the left, I do have my latch to get in and out, lock and unlock, and power windows. Moving into the center, I get 2 climate control vents, as well as the hazard switch, and then I have the infotainment system. This, again, feels very similar to the modern GX, and it does have navigation, which still works 13 years later. Can't be said about all vehicles in this era. And of course, I can run my audio and whatnot. Then I do have my climate controls. I love the fact that these are actually physical. I get dual zone climate and tons of physical buttons. Then I have this very interesting panel. This is actually for my radio buttons. Normally it conceals it, but if you push it down, you can select AM, FM, as well as like skip track and change disc, which is weird because this panel doesn't conceal the CD player. It's just the buttons for it. I guess it cleans up the interior a little bit, but not that much. So I guess it's cool, but I guess it's also unnecessary. Speaking of unnecessary doors, down in the center console, I do have a little cubby for the USB aux and 12-volt outlet, again covered by another door. And then I have my heated and ventilated seat options off to the left and right, of course, for the driver and the passenger. Then I have the shifter itself. This shifter has been used in almost every Lexus product seemingly since the dawn of time, and it's fine. They dress it up a little bit, put this little wood accent on it and whatnot, but overall I'm not really over the moon, as one would say. Then off to the right, I do have my hill descent control and my four-wheel drive settings. So like I said, this is a four-wheel drive vehicle, and you can select that at a little push button off to the right. Then we do have cup holders. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the Lexus GX 460, and I am very happy to report that back in 2010, it did indeed pass the big friggin' bottle test. Then I do have a little center console armrest and the seats. Like I said, these seats are heated, ventilated, power, and memory, and they are pretty comfortable. They are a really nice taut leather. I think they're very presentable, especially for 138,000 miles. I think they've held up pretty well, and I'm fairly happy with them. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do backseat reviews. All right, so we're in the second row of the 2010 Lexus GX 460, and a couple of things to note. First of all, being a big guy, my knees are not hitting the seat in front of me, my head's not hitting the ceiling, and the knee thing is actually more due to the contour of the seats. They sort of come up and back, so if my knees were up here, they'd hit the seats, but because it's curved, they don't. So it's really smart engineering on Lexus's part. I also do have my own climate controls back here. I get 2 levels of heated seats, high and low, for the second row, as well as I can do my fan speed, temperature, and where to send it, all from down there. I do get the center console with 2 pop-out cup holders. These are a lot smaller than the ones up front. Don't think they'd fit the big friggin' bottle, but that's okay. We don't test those. And overall, the seats back here, the experience is actually really nice. I can see up and over everything. I'm comfortable. It's pretty good. However, we do have a third row of seats, so let's hop back there and do a third row review. So in the very third row of the GX 460, I am smushed back here pretty good. It's not very comfortable. However, it does have a third row if you need it. Kids back here would fit fine. My knees are just a little smashed. There we go. I could manage back here. I would not be happy about it, and that's okay. I do have a lever right here. Puts those seats down. So, am I happy? No, but I don't have to be, and that's okay. Let's hop around back now. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the GX 460, press and hold here on the key fob, and that actually pops the rear glass. So like its 4Runner counterpart, you can actually just pop the rear glass, which I absolutely love. Really, really like that. But then you can come down here. There's a handle right here. It actually opens up like a door, which is really, really cool to see. You get this giant strut. Really reminds me of the earlier gen RAV4s. But anyway, once we are back here, you don't get much space when the third row is up. Now, you can do a little power outlet, interesting enough, but other than that, nothing too crazy. I do have buttons up here to lower the third row. It's not the fastest thing in the world, as you can see. It's yeah, there you go. But something interesting, I'll try to catch it here. The bottom of the seat, like the Volvo XC90 of a similar year, actually pops out. Very, very weird. Anyway, this is the back area. This is the cargo space of the GX 460. It's not bad when the third row's down. Actually, when the third row's down, it's pretty good. So that is a pretty decent win for the GX. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I'm not a big fan of this generation of the GX. I think it's a little blobby, I think it's a little mushy, and I can't even really consider it macaroni styling because it doesn't really give me that sense of nostalgia. It just is ugly, like those little hairless dogs. Those things get none of my love. So I have to say that that's probably the biggest downside is the looks of this car. However, this generation was actually started in 2010, but is still going. That's right, the modern Lexus GX 460 is still on its second generation. This generation going on 13 years. Now, there have been 2 facelifts, and as of 2022, they added a new radio, so it finally has some up-to-date infotainment. But at its core, in its bones, it is the same vehicle as the one you're seeing now. And that is pretty wild, but again, I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving a Lexus GX 460 from 2010? Well, this isn't my first GX that I've driven. I've actually driven a 2017. And if you go watch that video, that was at the very beginning of the pandemic when coronavirus was a very brand new thing. No one really knew what it was. Right now, literally right now, the world is amidst the coronavirus outbreak. And so I hope that you're watching this video some point in the future and you're laughing and go, oh, I remember that. But right now, the shelves on stores are absolutely empty. My schooling, my college schooling has been canceled. The elementary schools have been canceled. There is a stay-home policy. There is a quarantine. And tonight, we are waiting to hear from our president if he enforces a nationwide quarantine that could last up to 8 weeks. And my feelings about that car are pretty much the same with this one. It's a big, comfy SUV, but my thoughts have changed a little on the drivetrain. This is, surprisingly, a very capable SUV because it shares a platform with the Toyota 4Runner, a very, very capable SUV. Now, this, of course, is dressed up. It has a toupee and a business suit on, but at its core, it's a 4Runner, and it's ready to go on an off-road adventure. And the reason I bring that up is because back in the day, someone that bought this Lexus GX 460 brand new did not take it off-road. This was a very, very expensive car. But what I love about my job is that I get to drive older cars, but look at them and review them after years, if not sometimes decades, of user experience and market fluctuation. And so now, where this used to be a rich mom car back in 2010, now this might be a decent off-road rig to build. It has the guts of a 4Runner, so you can get suspension lifts. You can get big chunky tires underneath this thing. It has a great 4-wheel drive system. It'll do all the things that your 4Runner will do, but you get heated and ventilated seats. You get built-in sat-nav. You get nice premium wood accents and comfortable seats. You don't have to rough it. You know, I do love the 4Runner, and I'll leave my V8 4Runner at the end of this video, but that's bare bones. That didn't coddle you. Well, this does. And so if you can find one of these for the same price as a 4Runner, why wouldn't you? That was impossible 13 years ago, but now, today, it's a reality. So is this a dressed up, nicer 4Runner? Yes. But that is a strength rather than a weakness. Huge thank you to North Naperville Autos for letting me take out their Lexus GX 460. I love these older Lexus vehicles. I know you guys love these older Lexus vehicles. North Naperville Autos is absolutely awesome. They offer financing, shipping to the lower 48 states, and they are Carfax certified. So they are absolutely awesome. If you're going to buy a used car in the Chicagoland area, North Naperville Autos is the place to do it. And a fun little bonus now, I am the voicemail voice of North Naperville Autos. So if you call them after hours or on a Sunday when they're closed and no one picks up, you'll hear my voice. So give them a call. You can hear that little Easter egg of me saying, thank you for calling North Naperville Autos. If it's after 8 p.m. Central, I highly recommend doing it. They are absolutely awesome. We've been working together for years now, and it's always been a pleasurable experience. Please check out North Naperville Autos. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.